I'm not going to say, did you do your homework? I'm going to ask you to rate your study. How well did you study? How well did you read your workbook? How well did you get into the program? Because it's sort of like going to school. Because you can go to school and you can just go and not do any homework or not do any part of it or get involved, and you're not really going to elevate or improve. But if you get into it and you get involved and you do the work, you're going to notice some changes really, really quickly. Really quickly.
But today on the Jim's podcast, we're joined by one of our newest divisionals, and that's Sue Thomas from Jim's Life Coaching. So how are you going, Sue?
I'm great, Joel. Really good, thank you. How are you?
Good, thank you. And thank you for joining us today. And you've taken us up on the offer of the divisional profile. So we want all of our divisionals and regional franchisors to do this because we want them to get to know people better who they're investing with. And starting a new division is an exciting time, and people might not know much about Jim's Life Coaching. So do you want to talk a bit about how did you get into it at the start, and what is Jim's Life Coaching about?
Well, I came up with the idea. I decided I wanted to take what I do to a larger audience, take it national. I set myself a really big goal to go national and help thousands of people. I believe the mental system or the mental health system at the moment is broken. Too many people are not feeling the best. They need help. So I decided to flip the life coaching industry on its head and team up with Jim, take it national. I believe I've got an amazing program to help thousands of people.
Now let's talk about this program. Is it something you developed, or how did that come to be?
I have developed it myself, but I've trained with Bob Proctor, who's the leader in human potential and success. I trained with him directly in Toronto, flew over there a few times, and through COVID, we were on Zoom a lot. And I felt his program was the best in the world for teaching. It's an education program, so it educates you about you and your mind and how it works to be in control of it, instead of it being in control of you, our thinking. But what I did is I have elevated it and Australianised it and made it better. So now I believe Jim's life coaching program is the best program in the world, and it's going to help thousands of people.
You don't tell a bit about your story about how did you get involved? Did you use a life coach originally, or how did you learn about this whole thing?
I used to suffer from anxiety and depression myself, to the point I made myself really sick and ended up with cancer. Through having treatment to make myself healthy again, it was really hard work, but it made me really think about my life and how much of my life I'd just been surviving. I'd been in a really bad place in my mind, and it wasn't fun, and decided to do a lot of work on myself. I had done a fair bit already, I thought, but really hadn't hit the nail on the head. But when I don't know, it came into my life when I really needed it. Bob, one of his programs. So I started working with him, and it really changed my life. It made me realize that I could be more, do more, and have more in my life than what I was doing, just struggling, surviving, and life going on outside of my little jail that I was in. And I wanted to be out there living. So I decided to take my leap of faith and leave my job and do it full time.
Pretty courageous. So obviously you went through and it's worked for you, and then you quit your job to go and do it, which is pretty brave. And so maybe you want to describe that part of it for people. How's that been? Because a lot of people go through this sort of thing where they know they want to do something else and they feel stuck and they don't know how to do it. So do you want to talk about that part?
Probably, describing where I was, probably more like it, to take that leap of faith. My relationships were really bad with my immediate family, I suppose, my friends. Financially, I was really struggling and had been struggling for a long time, being a single mum, going through a horrid divorce. And I felt like I was getting up, working, leaving work, going home, getting up again and going to work. And it was just this cycle. So I took that leap of faith, and it was really scary. It was so scary. I was like, I didn't tell my mum for 4 months when I left my job, because I'd always been worried about what everybody else thought. And how old was I? I think I was 50, might have been hitting 50. And I was too scared to tell my mum I was leaving my job, which was insane. But a lot of people live like that. I know a lot of people are scared to do things because of what other people think, their friends or their kids or their relatives or parents, even when we were in our late ages. So it was scary, but I did it. And it was the best thing I ever did, but it was really scary.
How long have you been doing it for now?
I've been doing it now. Well, I believe I've been doing it my whole life, because I've been in self-development straight after having kids, well, even before then. But full-time, I've been doing it for just over 6 years.
That's fantastic. And can you tell us just before coming to gyms that you've been doing it, how does it all work? So someone goes, yep, I need to use this. Is it a program, or how does it all work? And what are the things? I just give examples of what are things you get people to do.
Well, one or two things we don't do is we're not therapy and we're not counselling. So we're not going to sit there and listen to you talk about your problems, because what you focus on and what you talk about and think about, you get more of. What our programs do is really pull people out of their lives and get them to think about what it is they want. Where would they like to be? What would they like to be doing? And really looking towards their future, not their past. Because we've all gone through some type of trauma. Some of it's big and I can't believe what some people have gone through in their lives. But a lot of it can be small things that have really eaten people away on the inside all the time. So what we do is we start you off and get you to think about what you really want. How would you love your life to be? No ifs, no buts, no limit here. You're the only person who puts a limit on your life. So we get you to think really big. And that's where we start. I used to have a 6-month program that I'd put people into, but a lot of people found that a bit too much to start with. So I've created, with the gym's life coaching programs, we've got a short 4-week as a little introduction for a taster of what we're about. But it's really powerful, really impactful, because it can really change your life. You can change your life overnight. But a lot of the time we're in fear or scared to do something different, or the fear of the unknown. But it's only what we're creating in the story in our head. So we pull people out of that really quickly in that 4-week program. But we've got another one that goes in a bit deeper and a bit in more depth, because I found once I started on this journey of learning about me and how I operated, I didn't want to stop, because I realized, wow, I couldn't get better. I can get better and I can get better, and just keep on improving and improving. Because if you're not working on yourself, if you're not getting better, you're only going to stay the same. So why not improve? Why not get better? So I believe you have no limit. We have infinite possibilities, and we can be as good as we want to be.
That week, for example, like what does a week entail? Is it like is there a coaching call, or so let's say someone does a 4-week program or 12-week program, depending on the length. What does it involve? Let's say each week. What is, just give it an insight in what people will be getting if they engage you to do it.
So we do have an hour introduction to the program, and explain about the workbook and about what to do every day, because you can't change things with one session. You can't change things by doing something once a week. So there is homework. There is things to listen to. There is things to write about. Picking up your pen and putting it to paper, getting out of your head what you want and making it physical is really important. But we change the way you think. We get you to think about what you're grateful for. The attitude of gratitude is such a powerful tool, and that's an everyday. So it's important to wake up every day and write down 10 things you're grateful for. It's simple. Like, this is not, doesn't give you brain hernia what we do. It's very simple, but it's creating new habits, because those old habits that aren't working, you can't continue with them. You've got to change to new habits. So with an accountability person that you're going to meet again next week, and it's going to say, I'm not going to say, did you do your homework? I'm going to ask you to rate your study. How well did you study this week? How well did you read your workbook? How well did you get into the program? Because it's sort of like going to school. It's similar, because you can go to school and you can just go and not do any homework or not do any part of it or get involved, and you're not really going to elevate or improve. But if you get into it and you get involved and you do the work, you're going to notice some changes really, really quickly, really quickly.
What's an example of maybe someone you've coached over the years that stands out? You don't have to say their name or anything, but is there any examples of, like, just give it people of an insight of what is possible when they do a program? What is actually possible in terms of real outcomes?
Well, I get teary when I think of my clients, because I'm working with a lady at the moment who she has just realised, because she's just come through, because I picked some guinea pigs that I wanted to take through similar system to the gym's life coaching program. So I broke it up to 3 months, and she's just gone into the second level, so level 2. But when she first started, she's been able to look back and say, wow, I felt like I was in a straitjacket. I didn't realise, I call it a jail, because that's how I felt like I was sitting in this little box and the door was locked and I couldn't get out during the day. She felt like she was in a straitjacket where she was trapped, not being able to make any decisions, that she didn't trust herself to make decisions properly. And her relationships were a bit stressed and tight. Her business, she was ready to give her business up because she was just so stressed, and people were telling her, what are you doing that for? You should be retiring. And she was listening to them. Whereas she's absolutely amazing at what she does and really good at it. And her business has started to boom. We weren't even working on her business. We were working on her. But because she's feeling so much better in herself, she's making decisions like we were when we were 5 years old, because we're never taught how to make decisions. So that clarity comes through. She's feeling so much clearer and more confident in herself that she's running her business like a business. She's walking in and she's not emptying the bins at work. She's actually being the owner of the business. She's put on 2 more staff members and she's got so much work coming in. She's just amazed at how much more in control she is. We teach people about their mental muscles and she's starting to use them. And she is just realizing she's in control of her thinking now. And by being in control of her thinking, it's just filtering out throughout her whole life. Her relationship with her daughter has just improved out of sight. Same with her husband. She's realized that she's 100% responsible for her behavior, and now her impact in her marriage has just blossomed. And I get front row seat watching this. I get goosebumps and a bit teary too, of joy, tears of joy, watching them, a new person turn up every week with more confidence and happy.
Without revealing too much of what goes on in the session, how do you then affect this change? Like, is there something where, is it an hour consult where you're giving him exercises, or how do you change a thought pattern, for example, that might have been there for 40 or 50 years? Or is that too much of a secret to give away? But how does that work? Because obviously people are doing something 50 to 40 years or thinking a certain way, and then to try and get them to change in a week or 2 weeks can be quite difficult. So is it exercises? Is it you just talking to them about it, or is it them writing it down and then you reinforce it and you do calls? Or how does it actually, that process sort of work?
Well, it is quite in detail and it can happen overnight, but it does take time, because what we do is I basically tell my clients, you have 2 lives. One you've just finished and one you're about to start, because you can't drag your past in with you. And it's not lessening anything that's ever happened in your life, but you can't drag that in with you, all of it, to take it into your future. So we stop talking about it for starters, and we start exercising your imagination, exercising those other mental muscles through a conversation. I have a facilitation that I run through that gets people to think differently, because we're on repeat. We're in a habit of doing the same thing over and over and over again every day, like we have for 40 and 50 years. And I know I was there. I was thinking these thoughts, and I was hard on myself. I was my worst enemy, because I was always telling myself how silly I was or how stupid I was, and I'm such a so-and-so. And it's stopping that, catching people from saying that anymore, no more, it doesn't happen anymore, and giving them new words to say, new things to say to themselves that they choose. But it's through this process of, what is it that you want? Who is that person that has that? And discovering this whole new, it's not new, it's the person you were born to be. But back when we were 3, 4, 5, 10, 15, we had people around us tell us who they thought we were and who they thought we should be, whether we were good at this or not good at that. You know, talking to somebody today about, they said they weren't very creative. And I said, well, who said that? And there was somebody back when they were at primary school said they couldn't draw properly. And how old are you now? So it's a really big wake-up call, because most people, they think they're thinking, but it's just mental activity of the same old thoughts. We have 60 to 80,000 thoughts a day, and most of them are the same. So what I do is get them to think differently, think new thoughts, better quality thoughts, ask better quality questions. So it's all there's a step-by-step plan. It's a process that I take people through, and it's really simple, but it's hard to do. It's like try and change a habit. Try and when you get up in the morning to get dressed, and put your left foot in your shoe first instead of your right. It's like we automatically put the right foot in first if you're right foot or left. It's just whatever habit we're used to. Or brush your teeth with your other hand. It's really awkward. It feels hard. So we don't do it anymore. We go back to the old way. So having an accountability person to say, no, I'm going to talk to you next week, and we're going to go again. And it just gets easier and easier. And it gets so exciting, because as people start to see little changes, they know more's possible.
Really important point. And I think people's thought process is really, really, some of them might get in childhood, it just sticks them to their 40 and 50, and their whole outlook on the world is formed by something that happened 45 or 50 years ago, and it's just leads them to a bad quality of life. And I think people really underestimate the power of personal development and actually looking at what they want to do and actually taking action to do something about it, because a lot of people just accept it as their lot in life and don't do much about it. Whereas, for example, with yourself, probably had people telling you not to quit your job and you've done it, and now you're far more happier. Imagine if you didn't do that.
I know, yes. One of the things is I try not to tell people too much about what's in the program for them to do.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Because they'll put it off. They're like, no, that's going to be too hard. I can't do that. So it's more about finding out what it is that you really want and how much do you want that and what is that going to do for you. And when people start to see possibilities, there's more of a chance that they're going to step in and do it. So I can tell you everything that's you can do. It's sort of like when you're born. If your parents told you that you're going to have to start crawling, you're going to have to start walking, and you're going to spit your food out, and we're going to keep feeding you more, and you're going to lose your teeth, and then more are going to grow, and, kids will go, I don't want to do that, but it's all part of growing. And if you're not growing in life, you're going backwards. And that's what I realised I was doing. I was dying, literally dying. I knew I had to get out and start living, because one or the other, I didn't save my life to keep going back to the same old.
So obviously this division is unique. It's just literally one service, which is the program, right? So someone would obviously call up or book online and you get a consultation with yourself. But with Jim's franchisees, is there any sort of offer for franchisees, or have you dealt with maybe Jim's franchisees in the past?
I have dealt with the Jim's franchisees in the past. One in particular, and he went from just being a franchisee to being a franchisor and really elevated, and now is really doing extremely well. But I have had people reach out from interstate. I do have a special offer for the Jim's group or franchisees if they want to reach out. I'm happy to talk to them, and even to work and help at their monthly or their meetings that they have to do as group collectively.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. And look, I'm really open to having this grow, not just how I want it, but how it evolves. It will be bigger and better as we go along.
Are you obviously you're looking to bring on franchisees as well?
Yes.
I was going to say, do you want to talk then about the franchise offering? So someone loves the sound of what you're talking about, wants to get on board. Do you want to just talk about becoming a franchisee in your division, what's involved, who you're looking for? That sort of stuff.
Yes. Well, I've had quite a bit of interest from franchisees already. I had another one I spoke with this morning. I'm looking for any interest at all. As I said, you don't need to be a counsellor. You don't need to be a therapist, because I believe that doesn't work. I've done therapy. I've done counselling. I've done psychiatry. I've done psychologists. It made me feel worse. So you don't need any of that prerequisite. What you need to be is coachable. What you need to be is ready to learn something new, a new way, to help people in a new way, and just be in love with helping people, in love with improving your own life, in love with growing, in love with learning new things. I'm excited. I want them to be excited.
Well, you obviously get very like you sound like your clients' wins are your wins, and you can definitely tell it's far more than just the typical maybe client relationship. You got a really big emotional attachment to your clients, as we can tell. You get emotional when you're talking about some of their stories and success stories. So that's the type of person I guess you would need, wants to join Jim's life coaching, is that sort of commitment to their client success.
It made me just think, because when one of my clients who I started with last year or the year before, she was tossing up between working with me and a psychiatrist, because she was getting that, through a cheaper price through her program.
Bulk billing, yeah.
Yes. And she was tossing up, and she said, oh, well, I've been waiting so long to get with this person, been a year wait or something, and so I'm going to go with the psychiatrist. And she said, I can't work with anybody else because I'm going to be lying in bed. I'm not going to be able to get up. I'm not going to be able to do things for 4 weeks. And I just said, well, I'll be doing, if you choose to work with me, I'll do the total opposite for you. I'll have you loving to get up and loving your life and so excited you can't wait to get out of bed. She said, okay, but I'm going to do this one because I've waited so long with the psychiatrist. After 2 weeks, she rings me and she said, Sue, I can't do that way anymore. She said, I'm so depressed. She said, can I just start working with you now? And I said, of course. Like, her life turned around so quickly. She just changed her life. She had a 3-year-old and her life just started, her son just started loving being around her. And she ended up walking into her dream job. She started working again, which she hadn't been working for so long because she couldn't. She started working again. She started living. Her relationship with her partner improved and just everything improved. She went through a lot and she'd come through a lot, but I gave her a totally different result than the other option. I do have to be careful what I say, but I just get goosebumps because I see it in front of me and I see these people trained and I just love it. My clients' wins are my wins, and that's what we start each session with, your win for the week. What's the best thing that happened? Because most people are talking about all their problems. You say, oh, how are you? And they go, oh, I'm good. I go, why be good when you can be great? Why be well when you can be fantastic? I do push this a lot because we've got to stop talking about negative stuff and wishing for good things when we can just think about the good things and have it. Simple.
Yeah, it's simple. That's simple.
It is. Well, I was sick, broke and unhappy, and now I'm the opposite. I'm loving life, having an amazing relationships with my kids and my family and friends, and life's so different now because I think differently.
It's amazing. And you took action. I think that's the key.
That's it. You can't just think differently. You've got to take action, and that's in the program as well. But it's inspired action, and it's with things that you love doing, not the grind with, we focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. You don't have to always, like Jim, he talks about there's one element of him he thinks he's lazy. And Jim's not lazy. He's just found what he really loves doing. And the stuff he doesn't like doing, he thinks he's lazy. But what he's done is found people who do those things well. And he's so excited about his day and what he loves it. His energy is really high and he's just always buzzing. I see him.
Yeah, he's just standing outside the door now.
Oh, but his weaknesses are the things that, it's not, we don't worry about them. We strengthen the strengths and do what you love doing, and the people to do those other things come along anyway. And your weaknesses aren't weaknesses anyway.
Well, sounds like everyone can use your services, Sue. I don't think anyone, if they're 100% happy in their life, fantastic. But I think most people, there'd be something they can change, or if they're not happy with where they are, they should maybe look at this, because I think you're a testament to obviously the program you've got, and you've obviously gamified it to be a bit different now, which is fantastic. But it's obviously worked for you, and it's amazing to see, in 6 years, in this position and to where you are now, and you doing your own business and trying to help others. It's a fantastic achievement, and well done to you.
Thank you, Joel. Thank you. Yeah.
So for people learn more, obviously call 131546, or what's the website address?
The website is jimslifecoaching.com.au, which is pretty easy one to find. There's some forms on there they can fill in, or just ring the 131546 number, and we will have experts rolling out with these as franchisees, and we'll be in every state, getting calls from everywhere, which is fantastic. We want to help a lot of people.
Now, is it an obligation-free introduction call, or how does that work?
Yes. We're calling it an SOS call, your success organization session. And that's a complimentary first off session, because, look, I believe this is for everyone, but it's not for everyone, because some people just are happy being where they're at. So I'm looking for people who are really wanting to improve their life and elevate their life. So it is complimentary, no obligation, but it's just to get to know whether what we're doing is right for you and where you're at is right for us. So we definitely just probably 15, 30-minute call that you can book in for. No problem.
Nothing to lose for anyone to do that. So please take advantage of that as well. And I'm sure if a lot of people are honest with themselves, they might be not happy where they are and they might use your services. So obviously it's worked wonders for you. You're proving to putting it to yourself and with other people you've coached over the years. So thank you for joining us today, Sue, and good luck with the start of the new division. Yep. Yeah, it sounds like you've got a really good mission and really good lofty goal at the start, which is obviously in line with what you preach to people you're going to use your services. So hopefully you can do it.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Joel. Thank you.
Thanks, Sue. Thank you for listening to the episode of the Gyms podcast. If you want to learn more about the Gyms Group, head to gyms.net or call us on 131 546 Australia or 0800 454 654 New Zealand. And if you did like the episode as well, please make sure you leave a review or a comment or a thumbs up or a comment on the video as well. We appreciate your support. And until next episode, we hope you have a great week.